powerful boom rips through the rocky landscape as a beam of light strikes the ground. The long, brown-haired woman lies gravely injured on cracked earth, coughing blood repeatedly. With her back to a distant glowing figure, the long, brown-haired woman hears it ask how things are going. The black brown-haired man, with a bloody lip, declares that he has been seizing all opportunities. The black brown-haired man gloats, stating she is utterly lost this time, and asks if she has any last words. The long, brown-haired woman pauses, then defiantly raises her middle finger, cursing Yi Chen-yuan with fierce anger. The brown-haired woman stares terrified at a glowing golden object as Yi Chen-yuan's angry eye glares from above. Boom! The golden beam explodes again, hitting the brown-haired woman whose eyes widen in agony. The brown-haired woman, envisioning her past self, considers transmigrating to a xianxia cultivation world and becoming cannon fodder, while the black brown-haired man watches contemplatively. Despite her power and treasures, the brown-haired woman fumes, declaring the world bugged for her defeat, and screaming in sheer frustration. Swirling red energy erupts from an open book as the brown-haired woman screams Yi Chen-yuan's name in fury. The title card, Mengshi Zai Shang, appears, showing a younger brown-haired woman with a glowing sword and the black brown-haired man. A grand view of the Myriad Sword Sect, a collection of traditional buildings on serene floating islands, is shown. A distant dong echoes as the scene reveals Frost Sword Peak, another majestic floating island. A serene blue bed, adorned with butterfly patterns, is seen in a quiet room. The younger brown-haired woman stirs in bed, complaining that the Myriad Sword Sect's broken bell is disrupting her sleep. Sitting up, the brown-haired woman looks confused, realizing she's at the Myriad Sword Sect. Shocked, the brown-haired woman wonders if she was killed by the male lead, and if her cultivation was halved. The brown-haired woman creates a water ripple, then thinks anxiously about her body's current state. The brown-haired woman stares in disbelief at her tiny reflection in the mirror, exclaiming, "It's ludicrous." The brown-haired woman, distressed by her small body and past death, is interrupted by a blue-haired woman asking if she has awakened. The blue-haired woman, Little Q, offers to help the brown-haired woman get dressed, informing her of an ongoing inauguration ceremony and a sect leader's discussion she must attend. The brown-haired woman appears utterly overwhelmed by a rush of internal thoughts and information. The brown-haired woman realizes she's in her old North Wind mansion, and Little Chu confirms she is the seat of Frozen Sword Peak. The brown-haired woman's eye widens in shock as she wonders, "Did I reincarnate again?" The brown-haired woman cautiously asks Little Chu how old she is this year. Little Chu reveals the brown-haired woman is only 6 years old, leaving her utterly stunned by the news. A serene landscape of mountains and flying cranes under a moon sets the stage as narration describes the difficulty of cultivation. Narration lists the demanding cultivation stages, explaining that even the most talented require a century to reach the nascent soul realm. The young brown-haired girl, Yuan Shu, reveals she is the Myriad Sword Sect's successor and the youngest nascent soul cultivator in history. After her mother's death, Yuan Shu borrowed nascent soul strength to become the seat, realizing Yi Chen-yuan is currently only 10 years old. Wen Chu, realizing her nascent soul power vastly surpasses the male lead's chi condensing stage, mischievously declares she can easily defeat him, shocking Little Chu. Wen Chu, holding a sword, triumphantly declares Yi Chen-yuan is finished, seeing this as a heaven-sent opportunity to steal his fated encounters while he is young. From above, Yuan Shu looks down the hallway, thinking she cannot waste a single second on such a grand opportunity. Little Q, concerned, asks Yuan Chu where she is going, reminding her that the sect leader summoned her for discussion. Yuan Chu dismisses Little Q's concerns, confidently questioning why a child like her should join a discussion while holding her sword. Enthusiastically, Yuan Chu levitates with her sword, proclaiming her grand mission to save the world. A flowchart illustrates her journey through 3 cycles: death in her current life, transmigration into a novel where she died fighting the male lead, and her current reincarnation as a 6-year-old. The title card, Meng Shizai Shang, reappears, showcasing the younger brown-haired woman with a glowing sword and the black brown-haired man. A serene blue sky with gentle clouds signals a new transition. Swiftly soaring through fluffy white clouds, the scene indicates rapid travel. Yuan Chu happily flies on her tiny sword, declaring her intent to find and claim the male lead's life, singing triumphantly. Yuan Chu is surprised as she gazes down upon the tidal country of the Heaven Continent, a village nestled below. Yuan Chu spots the battered and bloody black-haired boy, identifying him as the male lead, Yi Chen-yuan, and is shocked by his tragic past. Under a stormy sky, a crackle rings out as someone angrily curses, while Yi Chen-yuan appears to be in pain. A cruel attacker in light blue robes blasts a bleeding Ye Chen Yuan, declaring he wants him dead for daring to hurt him and disrupt his cultivation. Lying bloody on the ground, Ye Chen Yuan cries for those who died because of him, vowing to harm those who hurt him if he survives. The bloodied green-haired man grins maliciously, telling Ye Chen Yuan that death will be an easy escape he should be grateful for. The green-haired man plunges his sword into Ye Chen Yuan, shouting, "Go to hell!" In a brutal final attack. A mysterious silhouette deflects a sword with a loud clang, causing Ye Chen Yuan to fall in surprise as he's saved. Ye Chen Yuan realizes he survived, saved by a strong person whose hand emits a mysterious blue glow. The brown-haired woman, cloaked in red, angrily questions who dared to interfere with her taking Ye Chen Yuan's life, while the bloodied boy introduces himself as Ye Chen Yuan and thanks her. The brown-haired woman observes Ye Chen Yuan's broken meridians, calling him trash, yet acknowledges the intense moment he experienced at his weakest. The brown-haired woman reflects on Ye Chen Yuan's calm demeanor, even after his meridians were broken, concluding his strong will proves he is the male lead. Yuan Chu reflects on her previous life's efforts and determines she cannot give up on her plans now, internally clarifying that she did not save Ye Chen Yuan out of kindness. The brown-haired woman declares her desire for a treasure Ye Chen Yuan carries, leading him to realize she is a revered, nascent soul cultivator. The brown-haired woman in her red cloak claims the sky pearl and asks for Ye Chen Yuan's last words, but he defiantly states he has nothing to say if she plans to kill him. The brown-haired woman hardens her resolve, refusing to be soft-hearted, as she conjures a glowing blue ice shard. Ye Chen Yuan gasps in shock as an ice shard approaches, then cries, "Stop," as it shatters, splashing water near him. The brown-haired woman, with a mischievous expression, reconsiders, wondering why she should finish him off when she could exploit him instead. The brown-haired woman, holding an ice shard, considers the ancient mirror, insisting she is not soft-hearted, but then recalls a revered cultivator. The brown-haired woman acknowledges the ancient mirror is the male lead's weapon, calculating that killing him would mean a harder search, and considering a win-win situation, since the idea of anyone else having it truly pains her. The brown-haired woman in her red cloak tells Ye Chen Yuan that she has changed her mind. The brown-haired woman's face scrunches in frustration, indicating a chaotic internal thought process. The red-cloaked brown-haired woman dramatically declares she will spare Ye Chen Yuan and forget their past conflict, much to his utter surprise. The brown-haired woman in her red cloak directly asks Ye Chen Yuan if he wants to become her disciple. As the rain stops, Ye Chen Yuan asks why to her offer, and the brown-haired woman, citing his plot armor, demands his respect, offering protection and a share of treasures while threatening him if he refuses. Ye Chen Yuan, realizing his rescuer is a child, respectfully declines, explaining his crippled state prevents him from becoming her disciple. The brown-haired woman remarks that the male lead lost his cultivation and can't join a sect, while Ye Chen Yuan apologetically bows his head. The brown-haired woman confidently dismisses a damaged Dantian as a minor issue for the male lead, offering to help him find a repair method. The brown-haired woman states a repair method exists for a damaged Dantian, but Ye Chen Yuan doubts it, noting the extreme difficulty of obtaining heaven and earth grade medicines. The brown-haired woman confidently claims knowledge of many places with heaven and earth grade medicines, then directly asks Ye Chen Yuan to acknowledge her as his master. Ye Chen Yuan wonders if the brown-haired woman's confidence is a trap, considering how difficult it is for even a nascent soul cultivator to find such rare items. Ye Chen Yuan makes his decision, realizing that even though he is weak, she did not kill him for the sky pearl, leaving him with no other options. Ye Chen Yuan kneels, glowing softly, and respectfully declares himself her disciple. The brown-haired woman internally gloats about having Ye Chen Yuan kneel to her, seeing a future free pass, then smugly tells him he may rise. A glowing hand touches Ye Chen Yuan's head, and he is miraculously healed. The brown-haired woman's red cloak transforms into light blue and white robes, surrounded by glowing butterflies, as she floats, observed by Ye Chen Yuan. Ye Chen Yuan looks up in surprise and questions. Revered cultivator. The child-sized brown-haired woman in light blue robes stands on the grass looking at Ye Chen Yuan. The brown-haired woman reveals she used her nascent soul stage power to change her body, modeling herself into a child. Ye Chen Yuan, surprised, internally confesses he did not expect his master to be a girl. The child-sized brown-haired woman confidently declares Ye Chen Yuan her disciple, then urgently states they must hurry to repair his meridians before the sect's inauguration meet. The brown-haired woman proudly declares Ye Chenyuan her only and sole inner disciple. Ye Chenyuan internally thinks that his new master truly holds him in high regard. The brown-haired woman turns, pondering if she will regret her decision if his meridians cannot be repaired, as Ye Chenyuan respectfully thanks her for valuing him. The brown-haired woman smiles and tells Ye Chenyuan they should leave, as she will take him to repair his meridians. Ye Chenyuan, looking at the blood-stained ground, asks his master to pause before leaving. Ye Chenyuan reveals his request to bury his family members. Narration reveals the novel barely touched on the male lead's tragic childhood, where he was treated worse than a slave, chased from his clan, and almost died from illness. Ye Chenyuan would have died many times without a kind soul, setting a reflective mood for the brown-haired woman amidst a desolate landscape. Ye Chenyuan, with fierce determination, vows to avenge the dead and appease their spirits with the Hunyuan clan's blood. Ye Chenyuan turns, reassuring his master not to worry, stating he will take care of himself and is no longer alone because he now has a master. Ye Chenyuan walks towards a large tree as a gentle gust of wind blows. The child-sized, brown-haired woman hangs comically upside down from a tree, looking at Ye Chenyuan. Ye Chenyuan holds his master, who gently tells him that life and death are inescapable, and his suffering should motivate him to climb higher in cultivation. The brown-haired woman, giving a thumbs up, declares her great expectations for him, thinking that as the male lead, he's the only one worthy of such hopes. Ye Chenyuan thanks his master for her guidance, and she enthusiastically declares she will now take him to repair his meridians. A serene, floating island with a traditional building is depicted under a cloudy sky, signaling a new destination. Yuan Shu muses about her miraculous situation while Ye Chenyuan roasts meat, internally reflecting on their reversed roles from a previous life, sensing a dangerous aura from his young master. Ye Chenyuan doubts how easily a place of treasures can be found, despite his master's confidence, sighing as the meat sizzles with a soft SSI. Ye Chenyuan looks up, smiling, and assures his master that he understands. Yuan Shu looks surprised, thinking her sect would be furious if they knew she was using an immortal ship just to barbecue meat. Yuan Shu happily eats the delicious barbecue, praising the male lead's appearance and the top-notch meat, while privately pondering her own young age as Ye Chenyuan observes her childlike mentality. Yuan Shu wipes her mouth as Ye Chenyuan politely asks her which sect she is from. Yuan Shu enthusiastically remembers to tell Ye Chenyuan that her sect is the awesome Myriad Sword sect, one of the 10 great immortal sects, causing him to stiffen in surprise. Ye Chenyuan holds a cloth, questioning what it is. Ye Chenyuan thinks about the Myriad Sword sect's reputation for cultivation-mad members, comparing it to Yuan Shu, who strikes a pose below. Ye Chenyuan hums an affirmation, privately acknowledging that, despite her childlike appearance, she remains his master after a recent close call. Yuan Shu triumphantly proclaims herself as Ye Chenyuan's master, promising him freedom from restrictions and protection from bullies with a hearty laugh. Ye Chenyuan, seen from behind, respectfully thanks his master for her protection. Yuan Shu playfully scolds a stiff Ye Chenyuan, thinking he needs to be less introverted to make his mark, then enthusiastically tells him to embrace life by drinking and eating freely, much to his exasperation. A few days later near the sea, Ye Chenyuan asks Yuan Shu if their destination is beneath the stormy, swirling ocean, and she confirms they must pass through the maelstrom. Ye Chenyuan expresses concern about the maelstrom's destructive force, worrying it would rip apart anyone below the nascent soul stage, and realizing he lacks protection for his master underwater. Ye Chenyuan silently considers that his sky pearl could grant passage through the whirlpool, but realizes he cannot use it in his current state. Ye Chenyuan realizes he could share the sky pearl with his master, so she could use its hidden treasures. Yuan Shu impatiently declares it is time to go. Ye Chenyuan asks his master if she has any artifacts or equipment to pass through the maelstrom, to which she bluntly replies, "Nope." Ye Chenyuan gasps in shock as Yuan Shu, surrounded by swirling energy, confidently states that the maelstrom cannot damage a nascent soul cultivator's body. With a pained R, Yuan Shu pulls Ye Chenyuan into the swirling maelstrom, informing him he'll have to suffer a bit due to her lack of preparations for their hurried journey. Yuan Shu winks, her face smudged with dirt as arc sounds reverberate around her, indicating their tumultuous journey. A blue screen displays production credits and a logo. Green leaves drift under a serene sky as a pained arc sounds. A hand reaches for a green leaf as Ye Chenyuan urgently calls out, "Master!" Amidst the falling foliage, Ye Chenyuan walks through a field of purple flowers, repeatedly calling out for his master, before realizing she has mysteriously disappeared. Yuan Chu, smiling, appears and asks Yi Chen Yuan why he called her. Yuan Chu teases Yi Chen Yuan about feeling secure with her around. He calls out Master as Yuan Chu, now in new clothes, reveals she changed because her previous outfit was torn by the maelstrom, then smugly asks if her new attire is beautiful. Yi Chen Yuan shyly compliments Yuan Chu's new attire, calling it very beautiful. Yuan Chu then excitedly points out their new location, proudly announcing it as the promised treasure-filled land of heaven and earth-grade medicines. A glowing field of ancient medicinal herbs, some over 1,000 years old, is revealed to have been left by a great cultivator. Yuan Chu gestures, confidently telling Yi Chen Yuan to pick any herbs he needs from the field to repair his meridians. Yi Chen Yuan identifies rare and valuable herbs like Shuan icegrass, red lotus, and three-needle spiritual flower, marveling at their high price and scarcity in the market. Yi Chen Yuan is surprised that his master revealed such a treasured location to him as Yuan Chu holds a glowing, butterfly-like light. Yi Chen Yuan internally questions if his master isn't worried he might reveal the existence of this secret, valuable place. Yi Chen Yuan bitterly thinks that investing precious herbs in his broken meridians would be seen as wasteful by others, recalling his past treatment in the Yi clan. A chibi Yi Chen Yuan struggles, as narration explains his former clan deemed him unworthy of further cultivation resources after reaching the 5th stage of qi condensation. Narration describes a cruel world where everyone fights for resources and even good deeds often hide ulterior motives, a thought that distresses Yi Chen Yuan. Yi Chen Yuan reflects on his master's surprising generosity, recalling that she knew about the powerful sky pearl that almost killed him, yet spared him and even saved him, leaving him wondering what he could possibly do to repay her kindness. Yuan Chu asks Yi Chen Yuan why he's spacing out. He then presents her with a beauty-retaining pill, asking her to accept the only item he has to offer. Yuan Chu examines the beauty-retaining pill, reflecting that it is a successfully refined pill she created, and wonders if her master will dislike it. Yuan Chu questions why Yi Chen Yuan is giving her the beauty-retaining pill, asking if it is his most valuable asset. Yi Chen Yuan affirms he is giving her his most valuable asset, explaining the beauty-retaining pill is the highest level he can currently refine, and vows to give her something vastly better in the future. Yuan Chu accepts the pill, but internally expresses exasperation at Yi Chen Yuan's foolish yet endearing attitude, finding him headache-inducing. Chibi Yuan Chu questions why she, at 6 years old, needs a beauty-retaining pill, deciding to keep it anyway. Yi Chen Yuan is utterly shocked by her revelation that she is only 6 years old. Yuan Chu explains that her mother, an expert in astral projection, could not advance or extend a nascent soul cultivator's lifespan before her death. Yi Chen Yuan's internal thoughts reveal his shock at discovering his master is only 6 years old, much younger than he imagined, and even younger than himself, especially given his own limited past cultivation. Yuan Chu explains that her mother sacrificed her life using a forbidden skill to turn her into a nascent soul cultivator when Yuan Chu was 3, then asks Yi Chen Yuan if he now understands. Yi Chen Yuan, wide-eyed, realizes with a somber thought that his master has no other family. Yi Chen Yuan gravely thinks that only extreme circumstances could have led his master's mother to resort to such a drastic method for protection. A glowing symbol appears near the dark-haired young man's forehead, suggesting the activation of the sky pearl. The dark-haired young man meditates under a crescent moon, enveloped by swirling energy emanating from the glowing symbol on his forehead. The brown-haired girl is surprised, recognizing the sky pearl, as the dark-haired young man declares his intent to make her its next owner. The dark-haired young man explains the sky pearl's benefits to the brown-haired girl, including a spiritual chi spring for cultivation and protection. The brown-haired girl internally questions the dark-haired young man's trust, wondering what he would do if she chose to betray him after receiving the sky pearl. The dark-haired young man internally reflects on his trust for the brown-haired girl, deciding to accept his fate if his decision proves to be a mistake. The brown-haired girl and the dark-haired young man stand facing each other in a grassy field, enveloped by subtle energy swirls, ready for the pact. The brown-haired girl looks shocked, exclaiming that the dark-haired young man is too lax with the god-tier sky pearl. The blue-haired woman internally recalls the brown-haired girl previously wanting the sky pearl, while the dark-haired young man dismisses the brown-haired girl's concerns about his vulnerability. The brown-haired girl chides him for giving away his last insurance. The dark-haired young man playfully pulls the brown-haired girl's cheek, then requests a future promise from her if she truly wants to thank him. The brown-haired girl internally reveals her desire for the Su Mirror, a god-tier treasure connected to the sky pearl, asking if he would give it to her if he finds it. Green leaves drift under a clear sky as a hand holds a glowing golden ornate object, repeatedly thinking about the Su mirror. Lying in the grass, the brown-haired girl reflects on obtaining the Su mirror in this life, something she failed to do in her past. The brown-haired girl contemplates if she should be better to the dark-haired young man in the future, given his generosity. The dark-haired young man holds a collection of colorful spiritual herbs, informing his master that he has gathered them all. The dark-haired young man admits his inability to refine a grade 6 pill with his current abilities, looking worried. The brown-haired girl is surprised, realizing she forgot about the pill refinement, while the dark-haired young man tries to reassure her about the delay. The brown-haired girl adamantly declares they cannot delay, emphasizing the myriad sword sect's strict competition schedule and the 3-year wait if his meridians aren't repaired promptly. The brown-haired girl confidently cuts off the dark-haired young man's hesitation, stating she knows exactly who to ask for refining the pill. The brown-haired girl mischievously remembers that the myriad sword sect leader, her uncle, is a grade 6 pillmaster, planning to seek his help. A majestic view of the myriad sword sect's grand buildings, perched on floating islands amidst the clouds, signals their new destination. Sect leader Mochi Ting-fing sternly questions Yuan Chu's return, while she internally regrets her premature nascent soul stage and vulnerability. Yuan Chu feigns weakness and helplessness, tears welling in her eyes, to evoke sympathy. Sect leader Mochi Ting-fing stands exasperated, feeling his planned lecture was thwarted by Yuan Chu's emotional display. Sect leader Mochi Ting-feng addresses Yuan Chu, stating he will punish her for her sudden absence from the sect. Yuan Chu tearfully calls out to sect leader Great Uncle in a pleading, affectionate tone. The white-haired man, sighing, punishes Yuan Chu to reflect at the reflection cliff for only 1 day as a warning, much to the surprise of 2 chibi figures. 2 observers comment on the leniency of Yuan Chu's 1-day punishment, noting that a sect leader as an uncle is quite influential. Yuan Chu joyfully thanks sect leader uncle, beaming at his lenient decision. Yuan Chu internally congratulates herself for leveraging her pitiful status, promising to reflect on her actions, while knowing she received favoritism. Yuan Chu reveals she brought someone back, causing the exasperated sect leader Mochi Ting-feng to exclaim atrocious. Sect leader Mochi Ting-feng furiously demands to know if Yuan Chu has forgotten the sect's laws and orders the outsider to be thrown out. Yuan Chu frantically pleads for the dark-haired young man to be allowed to go through the selection process, internally reflecting on her need for a disciple and companion. Yuan Chu continues her dramatic plea, emphasizing her loneliness, lack of playmates, and the humanely speaking cruelty of rejecting her small request. Yuan Chu cries out dramatically, "Wah!" overwhelming the exasperated sect leader Mochi Ting-feng. Sect leader Mochi Ting-feng sighs, conceding to help the lad with some pointers, swayed by Yuan Chu's pitiful display. Yuan Chu, now with cat ears, asks the chibi sect leader Mochi Ting-feng if she can have one last request. The dark-haired young man, in new clothes, proudly announces his change to the blue-haired woman, who finds him adorable and predicts his awesome future. The blue-haired woman asks the dark-haired young man if he will truly acknowledge Yuan Chu as his master during the selection meet, and he confirms his master has accepted him. The blue-haired woman sighs, asking if Yuan Chu is indeed the fairy, clearly confused. The blue-haired woman questions the dark-haired young man about how a 6-year-old, his master, could possibly be younger than him despite being a nascent soul cultivator. The dark-haired young man realizes the blue-haired woman knew Yuan Chu's situation and resolves to quickly grow up and protect his master. The blue-haired woman looks surprised, reacting to the dark-haired young man's determined resolve. The blue-haired woman places a hand on the dark-haired young man's shoulder, understanding that he and Yuan Chu are both good children, explaining why Yuan Chu risked punishment for him. The dark-haired young man looks concerned, asking if his master will be punished for bringing him to the sect. The blue-haired woman internally thinks the sect leader couldn't bear to punish Yuan Chu, who then happily runs in, announcing that the pill problem is solved and his meridians can be repaired. The dark-haired young man smiles gently, realizing his master must have begged the sect leader for help. Yuan Chu instructs the dark-haired young man on how to register and prepare for the selection competition, which will begin in 10 days. The dark-haired young man, with a determined expression, confidently states he will not let his master down. The scene transitions to a building sign identifying it as Southwind Mansion. A few hours later, the brown-haired girl reflects on giving the black-haired boy the sect leader's refined pill as he meditates to recover. The brown-haired girl thinks that despite knowing the black-haired boy will succeed, as his master, she feels a need to protect him. URG, crap. The black-haired boy, bound by glowing red chains, struggles as a hand reaches down from above and someone shouts his name. Yuar! The brown-haired girl, with glowing red eyes, screams out, "Mother!" while entangled by dark, swirling tendrils. The brown-haired girl advises to use your strength and break through all the obstacles, while a hand gently extends in an adjacent panel. The brown-haired girl, looking determined, asserts that, if you're strong enough, you will not waver. The black-haired boy joyfully informs his master that his meridians have been successfully repaired by the sect leader's extraordinary pill, to which the brown-haired girl exclaims, "That's great." The brown-haired girl happily thinks that with his recovery, little Chio won't be worried anymore about you getting bullied by others tomorrow. The brown-haired girl, smiling broadly, expresses her relief, thinking, "I can also relax now," while the black-haired boy looks at her. The black-haired boy internally reminds himself not to harbor inappropriate thoughts, as his master is still a child. The brown-haired girl stands with a wide smile, her hands clasped together in front of her. The brown-haired girl and the black-haired boy stand at the Midnight Frost Blade Peak Spiritual Spring, which is a tranquil, icy landscape under a moonlit sky, and the boy asks, "Master, this is?" The brown-haired girl manipulates spiritual energy from the spring, creating ripples, and explains the benefits of this rich cultivation spot. The brown-haired girl and the black-haired boy stand enveloped by a glowing blue wave of spiritual energy, with a floating blue rectangular object nearby. A glowing blue rectangular object floats in the air as the brown-haired girl internally resolves, "Yuan Shu, endure. It's an investment. Male lead is a guaranteed hit and no loss." The brown-haired girl hands the glowing blue rectangular object to the surprised black-haired boy, telling him, "Here, take this." The brown-haired girl instructs the black-haired boy to get into the top 10 of the selection, but he, reacting to the object's strong spiritual aura, says he can't accept such an exorbitant gift. The brown-haired girl asks the black-haired boy how he knows about an old soul residing in his body. He then thinks about Elder Lai, sealed in the Sky Pearl, and his role as a renowned master. The black-haired boy is shocked, wondering how his master knows his greatest secret about the Sky Pearl. The brown-haired girl calmly explains she read about the Sky Pearl's interspatial space and its ability to trap souls, assuring him the old geezer won't bother him until he becomes stronger. The brown-haired girl shares knowledge about the precious 10,000-year spiritual bone marrow essence and the soul awakening, as the black-haired boy holds the blue object, reflecting on its value. The brown-haired girl asks if the black-haired boy is awake, revealing she helped him refine spiritual essence. He joyfully reports reaching the foundation building stage, and she says she will relax. The brown-haired girl urges the black-haired boy to stabilize his cultivation for the upcoming grand competition and confidently instructs him to wipe the floor with them. The tired brown-haired girl, thinking she hasn't slept, announces she'll make a move first to the chibi black-haired boy. Abstract patterns of blue and light orange swirl across the panel, creating a sense of transition. An old man with long blue hair and a beard, wearing a patterned blue robe, is shown, with a blue streak of energy near him. The old man with blue hair smiles as the black-haired boy asks if Senior Lai has woken up. The black-haired boy explains that the 10,000-year spiritual bone marrow essence is capable of repairing even damaged divine sense. The old man with blue hair reveals he read the lass's bones and discovered she is only 6 years old, yet her cultivation foundation remains stable after enduring a forbidden technique. The old man with blue hair praises the brown-haired girl's genius and congratulates the black-haired boy on finding a good master, prompting the boy to resolve not to disappoint her. The black-haired boy with the determined gaze declares his unwavering resolve to, quote, "get first." At the Myriad Sword Sect Grand Selection Competition area, the old man with blue hair warns the black-haired boy about hidden talents and the difficulty of reaching the top 100. Questioning his ambition for first place. A purple-haired woman casually walks past, remarking that some geniuses are already being secretly recruited by other peaks. The old man with blue hair warns the black-haired boy that harming other competitors will bring trouble to his little master, asking why such conflict is necessary. The old man with blue hair internally realizes the black-haired boy's determination stems from fear that someone else might become Yuan Chu's disciple. The black-haired boy, with a resolute expression, urges, "Elder Li, let's go," while the old man with blue hair looks at him, smiling. A grand hall is depicted, with a few small figures standing before a large, glowing, blue screen. A white-haired man and other figures stand in the grand hall as text explains the selection process, noting 100,000 candidates initially, narrowing to 5,000 after preliminary eliminations for individual battles. A detailed blueprint-style drawing illustrates a large, circular competition stage. The brown-haired girl with red eyes confidently states that this competition is a minor affair for the male lead. The white-haired man stands, seemingly dozing, while the brown-haired girl internally predicts the male lead will secure a spot within the top 100 if no unforeseen issues occur. The brown-haired girl, now with cat ears, points excitedly and exclaims to the white-haired sect leader, "Ah, sect leader, he's at..." The white-haired sect leader asks what happened, as the brown-haired girl mentally notes the black-haired youth's quick advancement to stage 6 with a stable foundation after absorbing the pill, leading the sect leader to commend her sharp observation. The brown-haired girl looks shocked and thinks, wait, behind Ye Chen Yuan, the black-clothed youth on stage, a white-haired boy with striking blue eyes smiles, asking if it is Wei Shengji. A white-haired man with long hair, identified as the main novel's final antagonist boss, stands with his back to the viewer, surrounded by ominous red and blue energy, leading to a shocked internal thought. The brown-haired girl wonders if the male lead and the final boss would clash upon meeting. The white-haired man praises Little Chu for the selected brat's performance, while the brown-haired girl confidently tells her sect leader uncle to watch as they enter the top 10. The pink-haired woman, Long Shu of Spiritual Beast Peak, scoffs internally at the idea of a stage 8 chi condensation entering the top 10, warning against aiming too high before the brown-haired girl angrily calls her Granny, making Long Shu ask who she's calling Granny. The brown-haired girl, with a mischievous grin, retorts, "Whoever said it is the one, eh?" The pink-haired woman, Long Shu, reacts with a furious and shocked expression, exclaiming, "You..." The pink-haired woman glares as she watches the brown-haired girl, Yuan Shu, thinking with frustration about Yuan Shu's sect leader's support and how other peak masters struggle for years to achieve their positions. The pink-haired woman declares she won't argue with such a kid, then internally seethes, wondering if the brown-haired girl thinks she can't deal with an outer disciple. Elder Lai, the old man with blue hair, smiles knowingly, remarking that youngsters from the next generations are more outstanding than the previous generations. Elder Lai advises the black-haired boy that he has checked everyone's cultivation levels, and he should be fine as long as he avoids Dusha with stage 11 chi condensation. The black-haired boy confidently states that even if he meets Dusha, it wouldn't be a problem. A golden light flashes as the black-haired boy looks determined, while a chibi blue-haired boy, Elder Lai, watches with wide, worried eyes. A hand holds up a long, inscribed talisman, with the name Dusha prominently displayed. A promotional image features fierce chibi versions of the brown-haired girl and the black-haired boy, alongside a recruitment message for translators. As a voice announces for both parties to enter the stage, the black-haired boy faces the purple-haired woman, Dusha, who smirks and tells him he's very good-looking, what a pity, declaring his journey ends here. A blue-haired woman and a pink-haired woman express excitement as stage 97 prepares, while the white-haired man with long red hair remarks on the obvious outcome of a stage 11 chi condensation versus peak stage 8 chi condensation. Dusha confidently tells the black-haired boy she will show him their strength gap. Then the match begins with a start, and she moves with incredible speed, making the black-haired boy internally exclaim, "She's so fast." Dusha lands a powerful purple energy strike on the black-haired boy with a kaya sound, sending him reeling, as he thinks, "So much force," and she smirks, "Hey!" The pink-haired woman, Long Shu, smugly reveals that Dusha is her secretly chosen disciple and tells Yuan Chu she wants her to watch the black-haired boy suffer under Dusha's whip. The pink-haired woman looks disgusted, saying "Prok" as the brown-haired girl, Yuan Chu, with cat ears, sleeps soundly, dreaming of barbecue fish, causing Long Shu to angrily yell Yuan Chu and break an item in frustration, thinking, this child can't be taught. Dusha powerfully whips the black-haired boy with a swish sound, sending his chibi form flying across the tiled floor. The black-haired boy struggles to his feet as Dusha, looking down at him, dismisses him as fifth spiritual vessel trash unworthy of being her opponent, confidently stating her superior cultivation and telling him his competition ends here. The black-haired boy internally thinks, explode, catching Dusha off guard with a shocked, "What?" as explosions rock her with a boom from an explosion talisman, making her wonder, when did he? The black-haired boy swiftly moves past Dusha with a swish, then holds a knife to her neck, calmly declaring, "Senior sister, you've lost," to the startled Dusha. The black-haired boy stands victorious over Dusha as the stage 97 winner, Ye Chen Yuan, while the pink-haired woman clutches her fist in utter shock, repeatedly asking, "How? How is that possible?" The pink-haired woman stares in disbelief at the brown-haired girl, who, in chibi form, casually says, "Oh, little Yuan won? I knew he wouldn't lose." The pink-haired woman looks frustrated, internally wondering which unlucky fellow became Ye Chen Yuan's opponent, unaware it was her own disciple, Dusha. The pink-haired woman, Long Shu, angrily confronts Yuan Chu, yelling her name, while the white-haired sect leader attempts to rouse the sleeping Yuan Chu. Long Shu then scolds them all, declaring, "You've all spoiled her." The black-haired boy walks happily, wondering if his master watched his performance, but then defends her against Elder Lai's playful criticism, stating, "Elder Lai, she is my master, don't be rude." Elder Lai assures the black-haired boy that if he can keep winning, you will soon become her true disciple. Elder Li tells the black-haired boy that outsiders won't choose a 6-year-old girl as master, causing the black-haired boy to react with a sharp kacha. The black-haired boy asks, "Who's there?" as Wei Shengji, the white-haired boy with blue eyes, appears, remarking, "Your sense isn't bad, but your cultivation is lacking," prompting the black-haired boy to recognize him as a peak chi condensation disciple. Wei Shengji, a popular candidate who defeated someone in one move, tells the black-haired boy he was just taking a stroll to inform him he has no chance with Yuan Chu and that he'll be the loser very fast. Wei Shengji winks, explaining that the top winner gets to choose their master, then asks the black-haired boy if he is aiming to become the sect master's disciple, to which the black-haired boy replies, "Who knows?" Wei Shengji introduces himself and suggests they could become friends before leaving, while the black-haired boy contemplates, "Which master are you choosing?" Wei Shengji looks back, declaring, "Yuan Chu, seat of Frost Sword Peak." The black-haired boy looks utterly shocked in the dark forest, asking Wei Shengji, "Did you just say Yuan Chu?" Wei Shengji questions if the black-haired boy isn't aiming for Yuan Chu and why he chose someone so young, suggesting she can still be a capable master, prompting the black-haired boy to ask Wei Shengji's own motivations. Wei Shengji explains that Myriad Sword Sect has 16 peaks with equal resource allocation. Wei Shengji further explains that the more people in a peak, the less resources each individual receives, noting that only Frost Sword Peak still doesn't have a disciple, before greedily exclaiming, "As long as I become her disciple, all those resources are mine." The black-haired boy confronts Wei Shengji, stating, "You're too late. I'm the only inner disciple of Frost Sword Peak." Wei Shengji furiously warns the black-haired boy to pray that we don't meet, as he will eliminate you immediately and not let him choose his master, to which the black-haired boy confidently replies, "I'll offer the same words to you." Elder Li observes from the shadows, surprised that someone chose Yuan Chu as their master, remarking that the black-haired boy really has a unique and sharp insight. The black-haired boy determinedly declares, "There's no problem. I don't care who or how many people want to be her disciple, she's mine." On the second day of the competition, 2 warriors clash swords with a clang, while 2 other figures engage in a fight under the clear sky. The black-haired boy, holding a token, affirms his need to be among the 50 remaining competitors, as Elder Lai warns him that his next opponent is not that simple, with a late stage 9 chi condensation and strong spiritual weapons, suggesting a spiritual attack might be needed. As the announcement calls for both parties to step on the stage, the black-haired boy acknowledges that this battle won't be easy, but resolutely states, "Let's go." Jiang Yu, a brown-haired man with a fan, tells the black-haired boy he admires him but won't hold back in the competition, to which the black-haired boy fiercely responds, "I'll give it my all too." The battle begins with Zhang Yue unleashing a powerful fan attack with a whoosh, forcing the black-haired boy back. The white-haired sect leader notes the black-haired boy's cultivation limitation will hinder his ranking, while the brown-haired girl internally acknowledges the difficulty of winning, but accepts that top 200 is already not bad, since she already decided to take him as her disciple. The pink-haired woman, Long Xiu, smirks while questioning the white-haired sect leader. How did that happen? Someone picked him and he can't even reach top 100. Long Xiu and the white-haired sect leader bicker, with him retorting that it's better than someone whose selected disciple was defeated in the first day, leading him to sigh internally about their 200-year difference and the headache of their constant fighting. The black-haired boy fiercely attacks an opponent with light brown hair, who blocks the incoming strike with a powerful golden energy shield. The light brown-haired man confidently tells his opponent to admit defeat, while internally acknowledging the fight is difficult to handle. The black-haired boy lies defeated on the tiled floor, his weapon fallen beside him, after the intense clash. The light brown-haired man reflects on future opportunities as the black-haired boy struggles to breathe, resolving to become his master's disciple and secure first place. Elder Lai appears, expressing grave concern over the black-haired boy's serious injuries. The black-haired boy begs Elder Lai to help him refine the spiritual bone marrow essence, enduring immense pain from the process, and cries out for assistance. The black-haired boy, fueled by desperation, fiercely clashes with the light brown-haired man, refusing to give up, even as his opponent threatens to kill him. The black-haired boy, eyes blazing with resolve, declares he will defeat his opponent as a powerful force surges around him. A blinding light erupts with a powerful boom as a voice screams in agony, signaling a devastating impact. The brown-haired girl and the white-haired sect leader, surprised by the commotion, rush forward as the girl questions what the black-haired boy is doing. Sand sifts through the air, indicating the aftermath of the intense battle. The light brown-haired man and the black-haired boy lie injured on the stage, as other spectators are dazed and question if both competitors are dead and how the match will be decided. The white-haired sect leader and the brown-haired girl rush towards the stage, with the girl urgently calling out the black-haired boy's name. The brown-haired girl stops the white-haired sect leader, reminding him of the competition rules regarding being knocked out, losing consciousness, or dying. The white-haired sect leader declares that if the black-haired boy can still stand, he wins the match. As the boy struggles to utter a sound, the black-haired boy, bleeding, asserts his will to win to his master, repeatedly declaring his desire to win, before the white-haired sect leader announces him as the victor. The injured black-haired boy tells his master he won, then collapses into her arms, while she looks at him with shock and concern. A voice echoes across the sect buildings, loudly shouting the black-haired boy's name. A gentle bell ring sounds within the elaborately carved wooden architecture. The black-haired boy wakes up in a bed, confused, then his master, the brown-haired girl, sternly tells him to lie down, asking who told him he could sit up. The black-haired boy, still disoriented, asks his master if he won. The brown-haired girl, in a chibi rage, scolds the black-haired boy for worrying about the competition after nearly dying, angrily telling him not to call her master. The black-haired boy, bandaged, wonders if his master is angry, then reaffirms his fierce resolve never to admit defeat to prevent anyone else from becoming her disciple. The black-haired boy apologizes to his master, who, in chibi form with rabbit ears and then cat ears, sternly forgives him and reminds him of her past kindness. The black-haired boy with bunny ears remembers his master's lecture as the brown-haired girl in chibi form tells him not to enter the next competition, confirming he is her disciple and instructing him to rest. The black-haired boy reacts with shock, questioning why he can no longer compete. The brown-haired girl explains the remaining competitors are elite, and his current condition, lacking spiritual chi and with a damaged spiritual C, prevents further competition. The black-haired boy acknowledges his master's assessment of his condition as she advises him to rest and mentions the sect leader uncle wants to discuss matters with her. The black-haired boy internally questions whether he must passively accept being held back from the competition. A close-up of the black-haired boy's worried eye, then he asks Elder Lai if he is okay, to which the blue-haired old man replies he is fine. The white-haired sect leader scolds the black-haired boy for his reckless actions, stating his spirit core would have exploded without his master. Elder Lai expresses concern for the boy's ability to compete, but the white-haired sect leader then ponders if the boy would consider becoming a senior disciple. The black-haired boy, bandaged, declares he is not satisfied because his master only wants him as her disciple, implying his desire for greater acknowledgement. Elder Lai offers a method to continue competing, warning of immense suffering, but the black-haired boy fearlessly accepts the challenge. A large building under a clear sky, as an unseen voice questions if someone is still angry. The white-haired sect leader confronts the brown-haired girl, angered that she gave away her deceased mother's precious items to a stranger, a claim the girl refutes. The white-haired sect leader questions her defiance, and the brown-haired girl, in chibi form, shrinks and mumbles. The white-haired sect leader explains that her mother's items were meant to save her from chi deviation, and questions who will save her now, but the brown-haired girl asserts her willpower is enough before wondering what if. The white-haired sect leader warns the brown-haired girl that going berserk might cause the bone marrow essence to calm her soul but kill her, to which she defiantly responds she won't go berserk, then internally confirms her resolve. The white-haired sect leader punishes the brown-haired girl for not heeding his advice, sentencing her to 5 years of reflection at the endless heaven danger until she understands her mistakes. 5 years appears as the brown-haired girl, in chibi form, tries to negotiate, then accepts the punishment, lamenting her misfortune and previously good intentions. The white-haired sect leader tells an unseen sister that he punished the brown-haired girl out of concern and asks not to be blamed. Elderly explains to the black-haired boy, who is in a tub, that he initially avoided body tempering due to the boy's young age, but enduring it now will greatly benefit his cultivation. Elder Lai informs the black-haired boy in the tub that he has created a protective barrier around the room and warns him to continuously channel the top method without stopping, or his efforts will be futile. Elder Lai tells the black-haired boy that the searing pain from the tub's water would drive normal people crazy. Elder Lai internally reflects that he wouldn't use this intense body tempering if the black-haired boy hadn't demonstrated such remarkable determination and perseverance. Elder Lai explains that earlier body tempering is ideal, but usually occurs at the core formation stage, warning of terrible consequences if the black-haired boy cannot endure, then praises his young potential. Intense spiritual energy glows and swirls around the black-haired boy in the tub, indicating a powerful and painful refinement process is underway. Elder Li, in chibi form, excitedly declares that it is the last step and that the process is going to succeed. A hand is visible near a shattered window, implying a powerful, perhaps uncontrolled, surge of energy from within. The brown-haired girl, startled by a thump sound, reaches out as Elder Lai, looking angry, questions her actions, while she appears to be manipulating spiritual energy. The black-haired boy is struck by a powerful swirling blue and red energy attack, sending him reeling with a booming impact. The black-haired boy looks shocked, his eye wide as he internally questions who. The brown-haired girl, with a determined and fierce expression, has glowing red eyes as blue spiritual energy swirls around her. In a series of panels, the black-haired boy is overwhelmed by a blue energy assault. Then a red-haired woman unleashes a powerful energy strike, causing a boom and sending the black-haired boy flying. The black-haired boy groans in pain, bleeding from his face, as the blue-haired man wonders if the red-haired woman wants the sky pearl. The red-haired woman, glowing with blue energy, prepares another attack, and the blue-haired man frantically thinks about preventing her from obtaining any benefit. The injured black-haired boy questions his master why. The panicked brown-haired girl urges someone to hurry up and share permission for the sky pearl so she can save them, while the panicked blue-haired man yells, "Don't believe her. Hurry up and hide inside the sky pearl." The blue-haired man cries, "Damn," as he is attacked, while the injured black-haired boy softly calls out, "Master." The brown-haired girl looks distressed, exclaiming, "This is bad. Yi Chen Yuan." The brown-haired girl reaches out, then pulls the black-haired boy, who is surrounded by a blue aura and bleeding, into a protective embrace, saying she almost can't make it, as a small red heart appears. The brown-haired girl looks pained, her eyes glistening, as she looks at the black-haired man, saying, "Yi Chen Yuan I." The scene concludes with a shimmering golden light. A massive "ah" echoes from the Sky Pearl mansion, as the blue-haired man looks shocked and distraught, questioning, "What's happening?" Below, the black-haired boy screams in agony on the blood-soaked floor, wondering why he's bleeding when his body tempering was almost successful. The blue-haired man, looking shocked, asks the brown-haired girl, "Could it be?" The brown-haired girl activates a blue energy seal, as the blue-haired man ponders if little Yuan Yuan has an emperor blood vessel. Below, both the brown-haired girl and the black-haired boy are shown meditating in a serene, glowing blue space. The God Emperor blood vessel is a type of violent and terrifying blood vessel that, once activated, releases unfathomable power, but without a greater force to control it, the body will just explode and he will die. The black-haired boy, covered in glowing red spiritual patterns, meditates in a dark, blood-splattered void. The brown-haired girl sighs in relief, stating, "Finally done," while Elder Lai, the blue-haired man, looks confused, asking, What happened?" The brown-haired girl explains to the blue-haired man that he has searched for a hidden blood vessel for years, and he retorts that such blood vessels are rare and show signs. She asks how he could know about the God Emperor blood vessel, which shows no clues, then angrily accuses him of being tempted by the body tempering. The blue-haired man points at her, yelling, "Gua! All because of you." The brown-haired girl asks, "Huh? Me?" The blue-haired man internally laments that little Yuan Yuan sees him as a granny. The brown-haired girl sits contemplating how, while she schemed to manipulate their relationship, the black-haired boy willingly risked his life for the chance to be her disciple, deeming him so foolish. The black-haired boy awakens in bed as the blue-haired man observes, telling him he's woke up. The blue-haired man mentions he never expected the black-haired boy to possess a, quote, God Emperor blood vessel. The black-haired boy asks about it, then recalls a past vision, wondering if that man was me. The black-haired boy begins to say, Ye Chen Yuan. First, before the blue-haired man explains that his master fortunately discovered it in time and saved him, noting that although the body tempering failed, his cultivation increased significantly. The black-haired boy reacts with a shocked expression. The black-haired boy urgently asks, Where's master? The blue-haired man, visibly annoyed, scolds him for caring more about his master than his own life-threatening blood vessels, then explains that the selection competition was delayed, so his master naturally has to continue. The blue-haired man addresses someone off-panel with, Hey you. Below, outside a building, he grumbles internally that rascal. He runs off so fast. The white-haired man, the sect leader, smiles pleasantly, inquiring about that kid's condition. The white-haired man, the sect leader, informs the worried brown-haired girl that the black-haired boy's injuries were very serious, and he would need 10 days to half a month to recover. The brown-haired girl, looking determined, tells the white-haired sect leader that she need to go and settle some stuff. The white-haired sect leader, in a chibi style, tells her just go, then internally sighs that she's another child that makes people worry. The brown-haired girl walks off with purpose, while a hand, possibly the sect leader's, is shown watching her depart. The black-haired boy calls out, Master, to the brown-haired girl, who, surprised, asks, Why did you come here? The black-haired boy happily states he has fully recovered and can continue the competition. The brown-haired girl takes his hand to check, confirming his recovery but noting still some hidden damage. The brown-haired girl leans close to the black-haired boy, asking why his face is so red. He blushes, stammering that the weather is too hot. Below, the black-haired boy bows, promising not to be stubborn and asking to re-enter the competition. Wei Shangji, the white-haired boy, confidently boasts about defeating his opponents easily, then encounters the black-haired boy. After the black-haired boy greets him as senior, Wei Shangji asks why he's there, prompting the black-haired boy to mischievously suggest, how about making a deal?